ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Inside the Foul podcast brings you the opinions and perspectives of a couple best friends. And if you don't like that call, we've got 3 words for you. You're out of here. We are your hosts, bringing you baseball even out of this universe, Chris and Ethan.
Listen, I am jealous of your writing skills.
Listen, it's just it comes naturally. It's okay. You're the talker. I'm the writer. It's okay. Yeah. All right. So let's get into it, guys. There's a certain kind of ball player that statistics can't fully explain. The kind of player whose story is built less on comfort and more on commitment. Long drives, empty cages, uncertain opportunities. Betting on yourself over and over again while chasing a game that owes nobody anything. And today's guest is the definition of that kind of player. Ryan Cormier, from Massachusetts, baseball roots at Westford Academy to showcase circuits and competitive travel ball, Ryan's path has always been fueled by work ethic and belief. He earned respect early as a player who brought intensity, athleticism, and a genuine love for the game every time he stepped on the field. But like so many players chasing professional baseball, the road after high school and college wasn't perfectly lined out for him. He had to build it himself. And that's exactly what he's done. Ryan continued carving out opportunities through independent baseball, overseas connections, and professional leagues where nothing is guaranteed and everything is earned. The kind of environments where the game tests you mentally just as much as physically, where passion matters because passion is something that the only thing keeping you going. But what makes Ryan's story really stand out is how he embraced the evolution of baseball itself. While a lot of players spend their careers trying to fit into baseball the way it's always been, Ryan became part of something showing what baseball can become through Cosmic Baseball, blending competition, entertainment, personality, and pure love for the sport into something completely unique. It's baseball with energy, baseball with creativity, baseball that reminds people why they fell in love with the game in the first place. And honestly, that feels like a perfect reflection of Ryan himself. Because this isn't a guy chasing stats or clout. This is somebody who genuinely loves being around the game. Somebody who kept finding ways to stay connected to baseball no matter what the journey took him. Whether that meant grinding through indie ball, exploring overseas opportunities, or stepping into baseball atmosphere unlike anything fans have seen before. Today we're talking about sacrifice, identity, chasing opportunities, and nobody's handing them to you. And keep your love of the game alive through every high and low that comes with it. This is the kind of baseball story that deserves to be heard. Welcome to Inside the Foul with Ryan Cormier. Ryan, thank you for joining us.
That was a perfect intro. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You hit everything on the head. That's pretty much been my baseball journey, and I'm excited to get into it.
Absolutely. So, we did a little talking, before recording and everything, walk us through, growing up, when did baseball become something serious for you growing up?
Serious. So, I started playing when I was 4. That's like probably the earliest memories that I have of it. I'll go back even further. So before, when I was born, my dad, he played baseball. He was a pitcher and he loved the game also. He played high school ball. He played in college at Northeastern University, and then he got signed by the A's. And he played with the Expos as well, a couple years in the minor leagues, all the way to Double-A, and then, in his mid-20s, got hurt, whatever, and then called it a career. So, cut short a little bit, but he had a full career pretty much, from a little boy, with a dream, playing at a high level. So he did a lot, and then he passed it on to me and my 2 brothers. I'm the oldest. I have a younger brother who's 22, a couple years younger than me, and then one that's 10 years younger. He's 14. So all of us are now baseball heads. We're a baseball family. We've always been in that. That started, with me being the first child, and When I was 4, that was like the first not travel, baseball team. That was just the first t-ball team that I was on. And then from there, played pony baseball, 5 and 6 years old. Went through all the teams and the different levels of it, and started playing travel ball when I was 9. My dad made a travel team, and it was awesome. It was called the Blast, and we had a blast. And that's how that started with all the travel stuff, and bouncing different travel teams each year, and just this normal like American like baseball kid, trying to play baseball like every day type of environment and lifestyle. That's all it was for me. So, yeah. You said that when it became serious was probably when like travel ball started. So like when you're 7, 8 years old, going into 9U, 10U stuff, that's where it gets, I guess, serious as like, yeah, I want to keep playing baseball, and I love baseball a lot. I'm a little kid and I'm having fun, and I want to get better and do good.
So knowing that your dad, the level of baseball that he made it to, would you say that made him one of your biggest influences? And because of those influences, what was one of those lessons that you really took away from your time learning from your dad?
Okay, yeah, this is gonna be an interesting answer. So, what was the first part of the question? I'm thinking about the second part. You
You're
said,
good. So you would say your dad was your biggest influence, right? When it comes to,
yeah, yeah.
that.
So, okay, yeah, he was my dad was my biggest influence, but it wasn't like um, he showed it, but he kept us. He taught us like how to fail, and like he wasn't cookie cutter, and um, he didn't like he wanted to help as much as he did, as I was growing up and stuff, but I had to learn how to fail to like really learn myself and really learn like the game of baseball, because baseball is a game of failure and like you're gonna fail a lot. um, he did everything the right way. He obviously didn't he had to convert his playing career into coaching, and that all obviously it's going to take some time, and it took some time with me growing up. It took some time with my brother, but eventually as I got older and played on higher level teams and stuff like that, the more he kind of eased off. And when he did speak to us, and when he did give advice, and help us with lessons, and all the stuff that comes with the game of baseball that's off the field, preparation and practice and all that. He took his time to like really help us out. And when he did speak, and when he did help us out with anything baseball related, it was really meaningful and really impactful to help us grow. So yeah, at the early stages, it was all about like trying to get on all the good teams and all that stuff. But after a while, I can tell you like all that stuff. At the end of the day, you just want to get better like every single day, and the best version of yourself. And I think my dad understood that. Um, as my playing career was happening, from a young age. So yeah, he did the right thing of you know on like pushing the pedal of the gas, and really teaching us certain things, and really fighting for like us getting better and stuff. But he also knew when to like ease back, and let us figure it out for ourselves. It was a good balance. Yeah, he did that. A lot of mental stuff too. Like the mental stuff is even more important. That's half the game, or most of the game is mental. So he did a good job of like, he was always patient with us, and always he still is. You know, even my younger brother, he's doing all that stuff, all the stuff that he's learned as a coach. He's teaching it to my brother now, my youngest brother. So he's benefiting from that, and we're always helping him too. So, but yeah, that's what I would have to say. Like, you know, my dad was my biggest inspiration, and yeah, he did all those coaching things the right way, even after his playing career.
Did you always see yourself as a pitcher? Because I know a lot of, kids when they're developing, they, play multiple positions. But what made that position change from, okay, I'm a utility and I play all these other spots, but now I'm gonna be just a pitcher. What went into that decision, and when was that decision, kind of
Yes.
made for you?
I wanted to play I wanted to be a two way as long as I could. Never had like the power. I never had the power bat, so I wasn't the guy like hitting balls out. I was always the guy like spraying doubles and singles and doubles, whatever. Hitting in the middle of the lineup, I think fifth or sixth was mostly where I sat in the lineup. Sometimes I'd be four, and then I would go like 0 for 4, whatever. Growing up, or whatever. So like, it would get to my head a lot. There's things growing up where like, I had some challenges like with my own self, and just things that I had to overcome, to be not more normal, but just like, just there were some harder things that, it took me more time to learn, or more time for my body to adapt, or whatever. So, I was a big kid growing up. Uh, I was very tall, very big. So I had that earlier growth spurt and stuff. So it was easier to kind of overpower kids with that, with the bat. And so like, anytime I hit the ball, it was hard. It doesn't mean I was the best, like, you know, mechanical hitter or whatever. So like, just, and then same thing like in the field. I played first and third growing up, and as I got more towards high school, I was becoming a better fielder. I think like in the field position wise, playing third base and first base, I felt like I was really good. I could have kept playing through high school, but I knew I was always going to be a pitcher. My dad was a pitcher, and pitching was always the strongest in my games from a young age, 9, 10 years old. Pitching those travel tournaments, and pitching in pony leagues and big games. Yeah, all the way to high school, I knew I was going to be that. And I was like, how long can I stick with being two-way in high school? It was just like, after sophomore year, it was like, yeah, junior year, it matters a ton. Like, let's go full PO. I'll become the PO that I was born to be. So um, yeah, pretty much all the way to high school was when I made the decision and knew like, it's gonna be fun to keep playing position stuff, maybe like for one more year or whatever. Yeah, once I'm getting towards college, like I want to play college baseball. Pitching was the way to do that, so I knew that pitching was
Well,
gonna, get me there.
Do you ever miss hitting?
I always miss hitting. Everyone, like every pitcher, ask every pitcher, they're the ones that want to take batting practice and like hit balls out. And we're like for Cosmic, like all the pitchers, like half of us have already like hit BP when we shouldn't. And we're probably gonna do it once we're playing at Shepherd in Virginia, Dirty Shep. We're gonna probably be in the home run derby. Who knows? Like, what I mean? So like, yeah, I always miss hitting. And hitting's the coolest part of baseball. You can't deny that. Like hitting a baseball, like everyone wants to hit a baseball. Like it doesn't matter if you're like full on pit. Like, yeah, all the pitchers agree too. Like hitting baseball's fun. Like that. As simple as that. But yeah, I mean, I I love pitching. Like as I got through my career, we'll get into it. Like I really um, fell in love with the game again through pitching and through my journey. So yeah, pitching is fun as heck when you know how to pitch. Trust me, like for all the younger kids, like it just takes time. Like the velo will come, and the the mental like mindset into games will come, and through preparation, all that stuff, just discipline, it becomes fun. It's a chess match. So
Well, let's briefly talk about, your high school and recruiting, experience because, you did the perfect games, you did the showcases. Over your high school career and doing a lot of that higher competition, showcases, what do you feel developed more about your game as a player?
Mm, that honestly, through the high school showcases, it's hard to say. I knew that it was obviously good competition, and it's a jump in level of play. I would say is like high school kids. There's not good ones, and there's only a few kids on the team that like really are like kind of good and impact the team and stuff. But through like high school showcase, it's all of those kids. So it's a jump in play, and it's the best guys from their areas and whatever. So um, yeah, when I was in high school doing that stuff, like yeah, it was just more of like yeah, this is good competition. Like this is more serious. I gotta like lock in and you know put more focus into this in game day and at the time I didn't really have that crazy like recovery and preparation like throughout college and into the pro levels but as far as like the game days for showcases and stuff it's serious and at the time it's serious so you want to make sure you're at your best and um, that was all my mindset into that and yeah, I mean through college too, like those college showcases where you're trying to play. Well, not. I mean, it's the same thing. Like trying to go to college and doing those showcases for schools and trying to get recruited. It's the same thing. It's like these are the best guys like from their areas, and they're all trying to play college baseball, and it's very hard to play college baseball. It's only a certain percent. You know, you can tour a ton of schools and do all that stuff, but there's certain schools that you want to do good at, and every school you want to make an impact and like see if that's the right fit, and it's more than just baseball too. You got to be a good person on and off the field, and the coaches will see you, hustling. They'll see you, um, you know, talking with teammates or picking up teammates or whatever. There's all those little things too that are um, just as important that a lot of people miss.
Did those events give you more confidence or add more pressure?
It did both. I'll be honest, because there's like added pressure to it, but at the end of the day, in the big grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. But like it does when you're there, and it does when you're trying to impress coaches and colleges and stuff. So yeah, it's just like added pressure when it shouldn't be, but at the end of the day, like it's a kid's game and you should be having fun. And I wish I knew that, I wish I understood that more. But also, it's, it's either pressure, like, what was it? What was the second
Build
part?
confidence
Did it build
or
confidence or add more pressure?
It, yeah, it builds confidence. I think no matter what, because it's like, even if like I did all right, like I'm still hanging with like the level that is pretty much like almost college already. So, these guys, some of them will be going to college and playing college ball. So it's like, yeah, it's like it's a higher level than what I'm used to, like going in to a showcase, in high school, whatever. So it gives confidence the more you do them. I'd say like the more you do those like high level, that's the one good benefit about paying the money and doing those like high showcases and stuff like that. It gives you the confidence and it gives you that for your career. You're not at the age to learn from like the better players and the better high schoolers and guys going to college, but it gives you that like mental kind of confidence just mentally of like yeah I can hang with these guys and I know that I can push it and do more and get to that level. So there's confidence and there's pressure. There's both.
well, so we talk about the recruiting process and then, these showcases that you were doing. What led that into the choice to go to Johnson and Wales University for college?
Yeah, so I did how many school tours and show? It was like it was over a dozen that I did. I wanted to play close to home in the Northeast in Massachusetts. So I'll go quick. I was born and raised in San Jose, California. That's where I played pony ball and all that stuff through high school, and then I got accepted into a really good college prep school in San Jose that is in the WCal. So that's pretty big. Um, like a lot of big schools play in that league or yeah, I'm blanking. That league. What's the word?
Conference?
The division, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of schools, like big schools. So I went there. It was a good freshman year. And then my family, we all moved. It was already like a decision, like as I was in high school, as a freshman at the time, just move closer to family. And my dad's from there, and work related stuff. He got a job there, and yeah. So we made the move, and that it was hard to adapt. For that whole time through high school. That's why I got to thank baseball throughout high school. It kept me sane, and it kept me, out of trouble and some dark times, because it was hard moving across the country and starting pretty much your life completely from scratch again at 16 years old or 17 years old. So that's the time you're like learning and growing the most. So yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to be close to home, because that's we're living in Massachusetts now. We have a ton of family, and I wanted to be in the Northeast area. I didn't want to go all the way back or whatever and be away. So I wanted something that was close to home, for college. So I went to a ton of like college recruitment showcases that junior year, like after junior or whatever time that was, during the senior year, but in between junior and senior year. And yeah, I like through high school, it wasn't like anything crazy, like the numbers and all that stuff weren't crazy. So I knew like I was going to have to really fight, for a good school. But, the more that I went, I was like, all of them are they all have good positives and negatives. It's really just like a decision on my part. It's what I see myself going at the end of the day, because that's how I chose the high school in California, because I went to different high schools to see which one was the best. So I knew it was going to be the same thing. It's like what my heart wanted, and what I thought was going to last for the 4 years or whatever that I'm there. So not thinking more long term. Happened to be Johnson and Wales University. It just had the perfect environment and the perfect the baseball program was just getting on its feet and hitting in the right direction, and there was big goals with that, and that's what they said as soon as I got there. So that was intriguing, and they were really pushing to become a legit Division III school in the Northeast that guys and players want to go to, and that's what it is now, which is crazy. How much it's grown in the past couple of years. It's really insane. Just as far as the the money going into it now, and the stuff that they have now that I didn't even have my first or second year there. So with all the crazy trackmen and all the stuff in the weight room, and all the people within the baseball program, the numbers guy to this guy to that guy, whatever. But anyway, yeah, it was just Johnson Wales. It had a nice campus right next to the water, right in Providence, Rhode Island. They had the campus in the city, the downtown part, so it was a mix of the city and the harbor, next to the water, next to the little beach areas. like in there. Not so much Newport. Newport's like an hour down south more. That's more towards like that coast. Super nice there, by the way. If you ever go to Newport, it's so nice there. But yeah, it was just a perfect fit of everything. And I was like, yeah, I think Johnson and Wales is the school that I can see myself, being at. And if it's for 4 years, I want to be here. And, at the time, that was like COVID, right after COVID, or no, that was COVID. COVID 2020 was when, that was my freshman year going in, moving and all that stuff to my dorm. And that was a weird time. That felt like the apocalypse. Still, that was so weird doing classes and like being inside. And it was like, it's so weird that I was in that. Like, we all lived through it. Obviously, all of us on earth now, like, lived through it. But like in college, like transition from high school to college, like, I didn't play a senior year because of COVID. We just left class one day and
Wow.
never came back, and then graduated from high school. And then yeah, we had this weird graduation, whatever, the weird apocalypse, you know, bizarro world graduation, and then all of a sudden we're, like I'm moving into my dorm room and it's like all these protocols and we're doing COVID tests at the old McCoy Stadium where the Paw Sox played, and it's like, what are we doing? Um, yeah, wild stuff. There's so many weird things that happen, but yeah, Johnson Wales, I knew like after all that stuff, it felt like, is it gonna get better? It was really just like more than just baseball. It was like, are we gonna like figure this out as a society and, get through this pandemic? Because it was really scary. It was like I was more confident and like not so, paranoid about it as other people, but I was like, this is how long is this going to go on? Like, this is crazy. So it lasted all the way to 2021 pretty much. And then 2022 felt like the actual like year that we started back, everything again. So yeah, I mean, through that time, Jwu did a good job, um, you know, doing everything the right way of like, getting us to classes, and then, having that balance of, playing on the field, and, having all the protocols of like, things that we got to do, like just get tested or whatever. Yeah.
See,
How can I say this better? But yeah, like, yeah, JWU I knew was going to be the place, and it ended up being pretty good. And I wouldn't be here, I don't think, without it.
See, and so that adds another layer to my next question. So, knowing that your freshman year of college took you through, the beginning of COVID, and your first, pretty much your freshman and your sophomore year were COVID, you know, um, what was the adjustment from high school to college like? Not only dealing with COVID, but then you're an athlete, so now you're competing at another level. What were those adjustments like?
I'll tell you, as far as kind of like socially and trying to fit in with new people and stuff, it was a lot easier because I went through it. The worst probably coming from coast to coast to high school, in the middle of high school when all the kids know each other from birth in New England. So it was a lot easier. Obviously, people coming from different states and stuff to Johnson and Wales was a lot easier to fit in and, get used to, my new team and, the guys coming from different places and stuff. It was fun. Like, we all clicked together pretty much right away. So I had a good, freshman group that, we always hang out and stuff off the field, and, on the field it was fun because, the older guys were, teaching the young guys of, the ways of, being a wildcat. And yeah, it was that kept it fun and kept it away from the real world problem of COVID-19 happening. And I'm glad we all got through it. And yeah, it the freshman year was good. Going into it, didn't really. It was just I was trying to figure myself out more. I didn't have anything. I had very little figured out with who I was going to be as a baseball player and as a person. Like I was trying to figure it all out, trying the different things of like, I learned quickly I wasn't someone who liked to go out and like party and drink and stuff. And, I was just, I was trying to figure out, like, talking to girls, like, am I gonna find like a girlfriend, this and that? Like, there's just other things like, but then I had to focus on baseball. It's like, all these college things, like, they're distracting. I learned that quickly. Like baseball, that's always been there for me, and I need to, really lock in and, try to be the best that I can. It was a very up and down roller coaster throughout college because freshman year felt like, I was like, okay, like here we go. Had some good appearances, got like a save or two, whatever, doing my part on the field as a freshman, with a big 35, roster squad that we had, mostly of juniors and seniors. It was a very 50-50. It was like, or not even 50. It felt like it was just mostly juniors and seniors, guys that, were coming back after the COVID stuff. So, guys playing a fifth year or whatever. And that carried throughout, my sophomore, junior year. There's a lot of guys that like came back, and, that's where it all started with all the, the transfer portal stuff and, guys redshirting and all that. That's pretty much where it started was, right after COVID. So that was new to all of us. But yeah, the teammates and the older guys around, I learned from them, and it took some time, but I learned eventually from them picking their brain, or like, just seeing. I was more of a visual, like, look at what they're doing. I can ask questions and stuff, but I can see, like, how guys go about things. So I learned a lot like that way. But yeah, and then sophomore year it was just like very up and down. It had some bad starts, and it was just I was going backwards, and I didn't know, like, I just felt kind of not lost. I did feel kind of lost. It's just like I was losing love of the game, and I was like, like, what's going to be the rest of this, JWU career for baseball going to be? Is it going to be more than that? Is it going to be past college? Is it going to just be college? Like, is it just going to be this year, and then I don't know what to do, and just call it? I didn't know. I was just like, I was losing love of the game, as soon as, like, that freshman year was good, but then sophomore year was just like, I don't know, just wasn't going the right way. And then I'll say that one of the things that helped turn it around was meeting my girlfriend. So I met her during my sophomore year, and we started dating, and that helped me kind of get grounded again, and like it helped me like be the person that I should be. She helped me out with that, and just having that loving relationship as I was in college helped a lot. Into my junior year, I was like, my sophomore year I didn't do good, and like, I don't have the numbers or anything like crazy. Junior year, let's like just go full, like, just send on my junior year. Let's get rid of all, like, I was starting to gain weight too. I was at the heaviest I was. I was like I don't even know what I was. I was I was heavier than I should have been. It was like we won our second conference, and looking back at those photos of me with the trophy and stuff, I look like a whole different person. I look terrible, and I wasn't even like playing on those playoff rosters and stuff because like I was doing terrible. I was like, I don't want to be this. Like, I literally came in being someone like that can help a college program and like has like I have everything, but I'm not using anything. Any of my ability, I'm not using any knowledge that I have. Like, I'm not getting the most out of me. So I'm like, let's start here. It was summer of 2022. That's where everything changed for me. Everything. I lost like 30 pounds in those couple months. I changed all my like habits, sleeping, eating, working out like every day, like absolutely grinding. I came back a whole different person. I went from fat, out of shape, just a mess of a person, not just a baseball player, to like full on like guy who wants to come in and like, be a dude, as we call him, be a dude for the program my junior year. And that's what it was happening. I was seeing the results. I was throwing harder. I was healthy. I was more confident. I, you know, was happier. I was just overall happier. Things were finally like, this is what I should have been doing, freshman, sophomore year. Now I'm finally doing it. It took me to my junior year, and yeah, it was looking really good. Going into my junior year, I was like, I might be a starter and like get a guy that like gets a ton of innings and helps the team win, and like this is what I want to do, and face some good schools. And that just it didn't end up happening because I learned that it's colleges. There's things with college baseball that they don't tell you. There's a lot of like political stuff. There's a lot of just favoritism, and there's a lot of just bull crap that happens within, and only certain guys get the opportunities and everyone else, and that's what it is now. It's just guys got to find opportunities, and that's why guys are switching like crazy through the portal. It's like baseball's a business, and there's people funding it, and there's players that they want to see on the field and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like coaches are trying to save their own ass, and I learned that. So I didn't get really any opportunity my junior year. I had that whole year kind of wasted. I could have done something I thought special, and I just had that like taken away pretty much. So this is something no one really knows unless you really know me. After that junior year, I played summer ball, and I was like that's my season. Is like summer ball is gonna be my season. I'm gonna pitch a crap ton, and during summer ball, like in the New England leagues out there, and just rip it up. And that's what I did. I pitched a crap ton, and I was shoving, and I was like, dude, I have it. I know that I have it. Let me take a chance on myself. I was like, I'm already here. I'm already, thinking of the future. I'm gonna take a chance. So that summer, one of the now alumni, one of the older guys through my JWU journey, he was like he played like 7 years at JWU. He was like a super senior, like super red shirted, whatever. He is a dog. Like he is a absolute animal on the mound. Like he knows how to pitch, and he knows how to like turn the switch of like competitive. He's one of the most competitive people I know. He played. He signed to an indie ball contract that same summer, and I found out about it. He got signed to the Tucson Saguaros in the Pecos League. And he played there, and then yeah, they went far, whatever, and he did, he got his appearances and whatever in pro ball. I was like, during summer ball, I'm tearing it up. I'm like, dude, how did you sign to a pro contract? Like, how did you get a pro contract? And now you're out in Arizona, playing at a minor league stadium, and playing at a high level like past college. He told me all that stuff, and I made the decision right after that summer. I played with 2 summer teams, and like it's like, do I want to go back and play baseball when I know I'm not going to get any opportunity as a senior? Like, it's already set in stone pretty much. I kind of dropped the ball, and now I'm at the I'm the person that I want to be, but now I just got to find the opportunity. That's how it was. I was like, screw it. I'm going to just not play my senior year. I didn't even play my senior year. I just said, like, it was just like, I was already at that point. It was nothing on my teammates. I talked and, had relationships and friendships with those teammates, that senior year. Still, it was nothing on the players. It was just, I got to I gotta do the best. Like I gotta take a risk. It was just taking a risk. I gotta take this risk now, and it was right now. So I trained that whole time, 2024, that whole fall of like going to classes. I would be at fields, working, my craft and, getting stronger, getting, you know, just doing everything that I can. I had to be my own coach, and I was at the point now where like I had all the tools, and I just had to put in the work. So I absolutely grinded my fall, winter, and into the spring, and then I took a chance on myself that spring to go out to a pro tryout for the Pecos League, and that was the best decision I made. I wouldn't be here, where I'm now.
So, while you were, for those that don't know, what is that environment like in the Pecos League going into, that indie ball semi-pro environment?
It's different, I'll tell you that.
Because we've talked to a few guys that have played within the Pecos League, and they'll tell you it's a grind and it's
That
competitive.
league is such a grind. It is like if you're a pro guy, like you gotta at least play 1 year in the Pecos. Like it is such a crazy league. But I'll get more into that. So I took a chance on myself. I in the beginning of like December, January, I was talking with, coaches, managers in the Pecos League, and they were reaching out, being like, this and that, blah blah blah. But I had to put in my own work. I was in the lab, as they say. I was in the lab, working on my craft, getting stronger, getting better, and taking a risk. It was a huge risk because it's like, if I don't make any teams, if I don't do good at the tryouts, like I have nothing. Like I already gave up on like college baseball pretty much. I'm going just straight to like indie ball or like whatever. I'm not gonna get drafted. I got to go through indie ball. And that's what happened. So like I went to a tryout in North Platte, Nebraska. I'm assuming you've never been to North Platte, Nebraska, let
Nope.
alone
Nope.
Nebraska, but it is the middle of nowhere. You take a look at like 360, like turn your whole head around, like look at, there's nothing around. There's just all like farmland, nothing. It's just flat. There's nothing there. I took a flight to like Denver, and then from Denver like an hour to North Platte, this little tiny private airport. We actually got off the plane down the stairs like a private jet. I felt like I was flying private. I was like, what? And there's guys like that were on that same flight that just looked super out of place. I'm like, dude, all right, that guy's going on a tryout. What's going on? It was so weird. It was like I've never been through anything like that. So I've never. There's guys at that pro tryout that have been through, different leagues. They've grinded through indie ball. They've been in affiliated ball, whatever. I'm coming right out of college, not even playing a senior year, taking a chance on myself. Whatever age I was I 22? Like 22? No, 23. And yeah, I felt like I was like 18 years old, around some of those guys. Yeah, we were all in the middle of nowhere. It was just like 100 of us, middle of nowhere in North Platte. And there was, managers there for different teams in the Pecos League, all there. And it was just a week there in North Platte. I was ready to go. I was so I had, you can tell, like, guys have been through it, and, they're not as, I was super excited. Like, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, let's go. Like, guys were probably like chill out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? like we've been through this. Like, this is not a big deal, but like for me, it's a huge deal. I did really good. Pitched, I don't even know how many innings, but I struck out more than half the guys that I faced, and no one really. There's only like one or two hits off me or whatever. But I was throwing good, like throwing it by guys, and showed everything. I showed everything on the mound. All the different mixes and speeds. Showing pickoff moves, picking off guys. In control of the game. Making plays in the field. I did everything. Checked off all the boxes. I'm like, okay, that was the best that I could have done. Like, I'm hoping I get signed. Like, I wanted to get signed to the same team in Tucson because they're the winningest team in the Pegos, and they just won like the whole thing or whatever. Um, or like they're always, winning. They're a winning program, so I was used to. I was like, yeah, I want to get there. So that's not what happened. I didn't get signed to there. There's some things. There's other things out of my control and like things I didn't know at the time. But let's just say like I made the right decision of I guess not going there. I didn't get signed there. So, yeah, I was panicking. We were all like, imagine we're all just all staying in North Platte, Nebraska, in the middle of nowhere. Half the guys, like only certain guys get signed, and then most of us are just stranded, and we have no idea. Like I just spent all the money to like get out here. Like now I have to like, I don't know what to do. We're calling coaches left and right. Like early in that morning, they had like, there's a team that was close by, the North Platte 80s. Like they wanted certain guys there to see if they wanted to like last minute signings or whatever. It was just a crazy like. It was like when you release all the chickens and the chickens are all going. That's what it felt like, for all of us like free agents. It was crazy. But I had a couple phone calls with some coaches and ended up landing on a coach, a manager in California in Martinez. It was a shout out rep. He wanted to take me on board for that season, and he's like, "Hey, when can you get out here?" And I was like, I can get out there as soon as I can, the next day or two, whatever. He's like, get out here as soon as you can. So I made a flight, that next day or that same day, left like a day or two later. Some guys, signed to different places after that, so it was good. A lot of the guys that I was staying with signed, so I was glad to have them, keep their playing career going and play there. But yeah, I signed to Martinez, the Martinez Sturgeon. Flew a couple days later. I get there. My best friend, I stay with him because he lives in California. And then we drive up that next day. So only in like a 2 or 3 days time span, I go from that to rolling up on their field, and they have a game going on, and I just have all my stuff. Like I have my suitcase, all this stuff. I'm showing up like I'm in an airport, like I'm walking through an airport, but I'm going to the field and going to the clubhouse. No one knows who I am. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like there's guys looking at me or the other team like, who the hell is that guy? I'm just walking. I'm like, hey, I just got signed. Like I'm here. Like let's go. But like, yeah, I got settled in that first day. I'm always gonna like remember that. Just like being in that like pro environment of like, there's a clubhouse, managers in there, and like, getting to meet him and then signing everything, all the papers and documents and whatever, just all the contract stuff. And that first game, just watching that and seeing fans there, it's like, this is awesome, cool. Now I get to play pro ball, and all the hard work, I get to do it this season. Yeah, I got moved in, lived with the host family. She was awesome. She had like 2 or 3 of us. But yeah, she helped us a lot, and had her own food and all that stuff, so it was nice. But yeah, the first season in Martinez was it was so fun. Started to like, I was like falling in love with the game again, and just having fun on the field and enjoying every moment of it. Playing at these nice stadiums. Some stadiums that are crappy. There are some bad stadiums, but some of them are super nice. Like Marysville, now that's the home of the High Wheelers. That stadium is so nice. I loved playing there. I pitched there a couple times. Field, historic Sam Lynn Ballpark, that's been there forever. That's what I'm going to get into. That was my first start in, technically not my first start, but it was my first like actual, I only pitched like 2 or 3 innings just to, kind of get in there and kind of, get used to it. So that was on a pitch count and all that. My first appearance, I think we won that game or whatever, did fine, whatever. But Bakersfield, we had a series there in Bakersfield, drove down, couple, like 6 hours. It's hot as hell. It's like 105 degrees or not even. It's like 112 degrees, and it's like 95 degrees at like 9 p.m. when our games start or whatever. So yeah, it's like you're playing on Mars. It's like the field is all dry and like the grass is terrible, but that ballpark has been there forever. So that was my first like actual start. It was super hot, at night, kind of like just trippy feeling. But yeah, I pitched 7 innings and got the win and like did pretty good. Like all the hits and strikeouts, all that stuff. It was like an actual like really good start and got the win. And I I knew beforehand this is my favorite baseball moment in my whole career was that start. My first pro win. I got the whole lineup. My coach had a giant lineup sheet and he got everyone on the team to sign it. And then he gave it to me. He actually took the time to put it in like this big like portrait, and he got it like cased up in the portrait and gave it to me. Now I have it with me. It's huge. It's like this big. I have it with me now. And not only that was that special to get my first pro win, my dad got his first win in single A there because that was the home of the Bakersfield Dodgers. That was their single A team, the Dodgers single A team at the time when he played. And he was with the A's at the time. He pitched on that same field, that same mound, and got, his first win there pretty much as well. So full circle moment. That's definitely the highlight of my baseball career still. Obviously cosmic, like there's going to be huge moments in that this year, and it's already been, but that's my favorite moment for sure. I'll never forget that. And then the rest of the season was great. Pitched a ton, got a ton of starts, a few wins. It was just like everything I could have like asked for, like all the work that I put in, was finally like paying off. And it's like, yeah, like I can compete at this level, and like let's try to get to higher levels. And yeah, I'll keep it at that. I'll say that. I'll let you. I've been going for way too long.
No,
Oh no,
you're
you are
good.
good.
So I'm going to say something here because what you just said about the whole. So I'm very romantic about baseball, and anyone that honestly is a true fan of the sport can honestly say the same thing. But for you to say that your dad to get his first those milestones together in the same ballpark is that's one of those things that just it puts a smile on your face because that romance about baseball because there's no way you plan something like that. You can't plan to have an outing like that. You can't plan to have that success. And for you to say that falling in love with the game of baseball in the Pecos League, kind of brought back that love for the sport again, I find that to be huge for the mentality that you've had with the sport. And that goes to my next question is going from the Pecos League now to Cosmic Baseball to a league that's built on the fun aspect of baseball. What has brought back that love even now?
Whew, that's okay. So, what has brought that love back into like now? So I'll say this. I'll go quick through the Pecos into like now. So like that season, having like I fell in the love of the game. I was having fun and I was doing like performing on the field, getting results. And I was like, this is how baseball. Like I was learning quickly. You know, the guys that have been in pro ball and stuff, they might have a different mentality, but it's like me. Like a year ago, I wasn't even like playing or whatever. Like I didn't even know what my future was going to be. I like turned my whole life around in a short period of time, and now I'm playing pro ball and like getting wins, and like I knew that like baseball can just like it could take you to places you wouldn't expect in like a short amount of time. So I knew that was going to keep happening if I kept going and kept working at it. So after that year, yeah, I played another year of indie ball. I did some pro tryouts that off season, getting better. throwing harder and like just refining like my craft and stuff. But yeah, it was just like I was having so much fun. Like playing indie ball was the best decision I made because like it went from college, like all this like bull crap in college, to like being like having the freedom to play and having the freedom to do what you want and to be around guys that understand the game and like just grinders, like, you know, having that grinder, you know, grittier D3 like mentality and like work ethic helped with indie ball for sure. And it was like, you know, all that stuff kind of carried over. So, but yeah, playing a second year of indie ball, last year, I played in the Mavericks League, and that was with the Salem Senators. And that was a pretty big like opportunity too. Like, you know, only so many guys can get into that, and like it's high level. A lot of those guys go into the Pioneer League, so I was like, yeah, I'm on the right track. Then a month into it, all of a sudden, you know, our team is doing terrible. We have guys not performing. I'm doing like all right. Not the best, not the worst. And then it was kind of like a clear house type of thing. Like he released me and released some other pitchers and stuff on the team. It was just like, you know, we wanted to early in the season get rid of some guys, and I ended up being one of those guys. So I actually got released. First time getting released like in pro ball. That threw everything off. It was like, you know, I just had like the week after like my birthday, or like a couple days, it was 2 days after my birthday. And, you know, I just pitched, you know, a couple days ago, and it felt good, whatever. Just all of that just came to a halt, and like I had to start from scratch again. It felt like, you know, it's like now I'm fighting, you know, I was already fighting for my job, and now I got to like find a job, you know, in indie ball. I got to find a way to keep playing baseball and like continue my dream. So I finished my season in the Empire League back home. I was like, you know, I'm going back home. I'm gonna stay back home, closer to home, and, you know, play the rest of the season out there. Ironically, it was the same guy that got me into. It was the same player from my school, Johnson Wales, that helped me get into the Pecos League. But he was there in the Empire League, so we were on the same team. So I got to play there. His name is Kyle. Shout out Kyle. He helped me out a lot through indie ball stuff. But yeah, just with opportunities for sure. And that's where I finished. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I can keep playing indie ball, but I've been in this. I've been with my girlfriend like this whole time. Like now we're a few years into our relationship. Like I gotta start thinking about the future. Like I have, you know, rent to pay, and you know, there's things that are like you know, I got my master's degree. Like I was in my master's program. Like I already graduated my bachelor. Like I'm about to finish my degree. Like I'm gonna have to be, you know, thinking about the long term, like after baseball too. Like it was just, you know, I'm at the point now. It's like I don't know what to do. Then all of a sudden it's September after the season. My girlfriend wins tickets to go see Cosmic Baseball at Polar Park in Worcester. I knew a little bit about Cosmic Baseball. I was like, okay, it's like kind of like, you know, it's like entertainment baseball. Okay, like let's go. Like, well, I'll just go to that. Like, why not? It's Saturday night. So we go, and I see Cosmic Baseball as a fan. I don't know really much about it. We get there. It's super fun. They have awesome merch, all the stuff going on around the stadium. Then we sit in our seat. We watched the whole game. It was awesome. I was like, this is so cool. Like, how did they get here? Like, how are these guys? Like, what are these guys? Are they college? Are they pro guys? Like, I didn't know anything. I was like, this is just cool. Like, they're doing like this different form of baseball. I find out a week later that there's a guy that I played against in the Pecos League when I was in Martinez on the team. He's on the Peppers. He's the catcher for the Peppers. I faced him multiple times throughout that. He went from there. Yeah, he went from the Pecos League to playing in front of, you know, sold out stadiums like Worcester, in like a year. I was like, how did that? So I got in contact. I found out who he was. I knew him a little bit, but now, yeah, his name's Chase Evans, catcher
Okay.
for the Peppers, the guy with the mohawk, the pink mohawk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I got my foot in the door. I was like, dude, how did you get here? Like, what do you have to do to, get signed to this team? And he told me all the stuff, and he got me in contact. He got me in contact with Jason Dean, who is the voice of Cosmic. He's the guy who's always on the microphone. He's awesome. That was the first time meeting him, and he talked for so long because he always talks for so long on the phone, but he has so much to say. And yeah, we just got talking, and one thing led to another. After a few weeks of like keep pushing at it, I was like, maybe this is something I want to do. Maybe this is everything that I worked for, and everything that I could have imagined with my baseball career. It's like doing this cosmic stuff, because the more and more I learned about it, is like the more and more of a opportunity this is, and a unique opportunity this is. Like, I'm going to be someone that might be doing this, and everything, like all the amenities and all the stuff that comes with being a cosmic player, like it might actually happen, and it might help me out a lot, like even past baseball. It might help me out for the rest of my career, and whatever job I'm doing, or throughout life. It's going to help me with connections with people. Like, this is a huge opportunity. So I really was pushing at that as much as I could. And then, finally, like in December, it was like, yeah, like we'll take you, we'll sign you. Like, it was pretty much like I think I had everything that they wanted going, just starting with the social media stuff, and I had the character and all that stuff. And
Age light blue heart.
it's my girlfriend.
That is epic.
Shout out to the girlfriend.
Anyway, yeah, it was just like, we'll take you, we'll sign you. And that was the best decision that I made. And I'm glad I pushed for it. And I'm glad that they saw me as someone being an impact here for Cosmic this year. And that whole off season, like going into it, now knowing I'm signing, it was just like, what can I bring to the table, and this and that. And it was unique, and I didn't know what to expect. I had the butterflies and was excited. And I moved all my stuff down, drove all the way down from Massachusetts, moved in with all the guys in our house. We have a lot of guys in our house, but it's a big house, and got the move in. And yeah, it's like from there, it's just been like a blur. Like, I'm trying to enjoy every moment, but that just felt like yesterday. And having the spring training of getting all of our gear, all of our cosmic gear, and having our cosmic practices indoors and having it outdoors, and meeting all this. There's so many guys, like, obviously, like, Austin Schultz is huge, and like, there's guys like Corey Cubano, who's huge on social media. Max Freeze is huge. Like, those guys. And then seeing, my teammates are now like, J-Lab is on the team. Like, I watch his stuff, I see his stuff on Reels and TikTok and whatever. It's like, now like, it's so weird. I went from all this stuff in a short amount of time, and now I'm playing with guys like who have huge social media followings, and guys who have played at high levels. Like, there's guys that have played in the show, like on the team, like guys who played like years in the minor leagues and stuff. Like, there's some high level guys. This is the highest level that I've played at, throughout my whole career, for sure. Both teams are super talented. Like, guys like Nolan too, with the huge like baseball like background of different indie ball teams and stuff. So like, I hope that I can fit in. Like, that was my first thing, is like, I want to just fit in first. Like, I hope I'm talented enough, and I hope I bring, everything to the table. I hope that I can do it on social media, and I hope that I can be entertaining and like, give the fans what they, just be good to the fans too. Like, it was also like a talent thing. I was wishing that, or hoping that I had the talent and all that stuff. But yeah, everything that I worked for, I think it's all come together. Cosmic has been the best decision that I made. Everyone in it is like super. We're like a family already. It's only been like a third of the season, but like, we're already a close family. everyone has had highs in the game of baseball and everyone has had lows, so everyone can relate to each other. And there's a huge like faith background. There's a lot of guys with faith on the team, and I love that because faith has carried me through this whole journey, and I've always been about faith. Growing up, in like a Christian public school or a Christian school, growing up, and my parents and mom and dad are big on faith, and that's what's helped us in our family and stuff. So yeah, having that here is awesome. That's a huge part of it, and it's just everything that I could have asked for with the organization, and with the staff and people around. It's unreal that I get to do this and going to these stops. We're in Nashville now, going to all these different stops. It like, how can you not have fun? Like, once we show up to the stadium, like, everything's already there for us, and like, we get the big league treatment pretty much, and we have everything to our disposal, and we get to interact with the fans too, which is the best part. Like, we get to sign for all these fans and like go to the block party, go to the VIP, go after the game and sign things and take photos and talk with them. And then on the field, it's like, we can go in the stands, we can just like hang out with fans, what I mean, during the game. They're part of the game too for the 3 minutes of chaos. It's awesome. It's so awesome. I love it so much. And the results are just the results. Like, as long as we're playing, at our highest level, and we like are competing to win, like, that's already the baseball part of it. And as long as we're interacting with fans and like making it entertaining too, that's all the fans can ask from us too. So we do that every single weekend, and it's just a blast. It's so awesome.
Listen, as a diehard Cosmic fan, I want the 3 minutes to go up to 5. Okay, I think 5 minutes of chaos would be like some of the plays that these fans watching on YouTube. These fans just run the ball to y'all. I'm surprised no one has gotten trampled, because these guys full on sprint with this ball like it's $1 million getting this ball to y'all.
It's gonna happen. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that fans don't see. Like, there's some like kind of situations that are like, oh, that could have been scary, or like, balls flying everywhere or whatever. Fans tripping over each other, stuff like that. But yeah, I guess it comes with the ticket. You gotta know, like, this isn't a normal baseball game. Like, you're gonna be involved in the action, and like, you're gonna be like glowing like crazy, and you're gonna be part of the game. You're gonna be like immersed into the game. So that's the cool thing about Cosmic, and that was the thing I noticed right away when I saw it as a fan last year. Was like, this is super immersive, and like full focus for the whole thing, from start to finish. There's no breaks. I mean, there's like, we have a halftime, but like, just throughout the whole game, there's just action on the field, and guys diving and this and that, and us throwing balls in the stands and stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's unreal. Like, this is the best. Like, I've already had the love of the game again, and like, this is just everything that I've worked for, and I get to do it on and off the field now, and it's so cool. And also the social media part of it too. That's a big part of it as well. So it's fun to post, and get kind of your videos and stuff out there. Like, I just enjoy the process of like, getting better at baseball. The process of like learning Instagram, TikTok, all that's the algorithm of, what works, what doesn't. I'm still learning a lot of it. But like, the process of like making stuff and posting it, like, it's fun to do that. And that's part of our jobs now. So, helping grow the game of baseball. Pretty much at the end of the day, that's all I'm trying to do, is help grow the game of baseball. Have that faith background, like, as part of my identity, and just inspire the next generation.
So I've got one more question before we get into a couple rapid fire before we let you go. But when you look back at all the adversity, all the challenges, the moments where the game didn't love you back, and you look at the success you had, and then finding the love of the game again, when you look back at all that, do you realize or recognize that, this is the path that was meant for you, or do you think you would change something about it?
I wouldn't change anything. That's the thing is I went through so many like bad like downhill moments in my baseball career, but it's all led me to this. So that's the thing is I think there's no right or wrong when it comes to like your past decisions in baseball, doing well, I guess like past results in baseball. Like you got to take it as like learning, the failures as learning, and then obviously the wins, the successes, being successful in baseball. You got to take it with, I guess, you got to like it's just like you got to stay even. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. But you got to have those adversity moments. You got to have those tough moments of like I want to quit baseball, and like those hard. You got to have that to grow, and that's how I've grown. All of my failures and all of my like I failed more than probably the average baseball player, so I know a lot like about myself now because I went through those, and the things that work and the things that don't, and I'm still learning every day. That's the thing is it never stops. So having those past experience, they will benefit you in some way. So no matter how good it is or how bad it is, any past, not even baseball experience, life experiences, it's going to benefit you in some way in the future. So that's my answer for that.
I love that answer.
So, with that being said,
All right.
I'm going to let Chris handle the last few
I'm the fun
rapid
person.
fire.
Yeah, I can't be serious.
Yeah, I gotta
Okay?
get going.
All right.
But yeah.
Yes.
So, real quickly, got 5 questions for you. What is the one teammate that you wish you could have one at bat against, pitching against, that you want that K against, just for fun camaraderie?
Ooh, teammate. I've already done Austin, so like, I mean, that would have been the big one, but I've already done it to Austin. But I think, dude, it's got to be Blaine, because Blaine
Okay.
is one of the best hitters I've seen. He's so good. It's not even funny. Like, he just covers the entire plate and will find a way to get on base. He is so hard to get out. But I've broken his bat twice. I just need to strike him out. But I would say Blaine McIntosh.
Okay.
Mr. Phantom himself. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Blaine.
Favorite jersey you've ever worn?
Favorite jersey I've ever worn as a player?
Yep. Yep.
Definitely this one. Definitely the glow emojis. All 4 jerseys that we have. We have the blue pinstripe. We got the splatter. We got the ice cream jersey, and we got the checker jersey. All those jerseys are so sick. I love wearing those so much. And you can also get my jersey on cosmicbaseball.shop or whatever it is. On the shop, the team store, you can get my jersey as well, the blue pinstripe. But yeah, all those jerseys
I was
are
gonna say,
awesome. I love the glow
I love the
emojis
pink
jersey.
one that y'all wear.
I think our jerseys are better than the Peppers jerseys. That's my opinion. I think fans agree too. Every time I
Well,
ask them, their jerseys are sick. Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my next question. Did you want to be a pepper or did you want to be an emoji? Where did you want to fall?
I think I wanted to be like a pepper at first, but when I like realized, their goal of like what they wanted like, choose your side, the good guys or the bad guys, and we're the good guys. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that.
So, like,
That's cool to know.
I was fully on board, and like, having Ray as a manager, that like made me really want to be a Glowmoji because I knew of his past, and I knew like what he was doing for baseball, helping it out, and he has a big following and stuff. So, I was fully on board with that. I was like, yeah, let's be emoji. As soon as I got like with emojis and like knew who's on the team, I was like, yeah, dude, our team is so good. Trust me, like we're gonna go crazy as the season goes on. Like we have some talented people on our.
Last question. You ready? Favorite moment so far, a quarter into the season.
This is my favorite moment. Dang, I don't know. I'm gonna try to explain this as quick as I can. My favorite moment was meeting Ryan Anderson in Birmingham, Alabama. If you don't know who Ryan Anderson is, You might know the name Anderson, the family Andersons. They are the royal family in monster trucks, and I grew up a monster truck fan my whole life, and I got to meet him. I met his dad, like the creator of the Gravedigger, right? Everyone knows Gravedigger.
Yep.
Um, I got to meet his dad. I met, the brothers, or not the brothers, the sons of, Gravedigger, the Anderson. Um, but yeah, I got to meet him. He met me as a fan of me. It was a full circle moment. Like I got to meet him, in the pit parties of like the stadium events that they would do growing up a couple times, one back home, one here. And now he's meeting me with his son, like as a fan of me. He got the full jersey for me, and like got to meet him on the field, take photos. Got to meet him after the game too and talk for like half hour or whatever. We got to talk and just chat and yap it up. And yeah, him and his son are so cool. He took photos. I got to make a TikTok with them too. Just
That's
that was my
amazing.
favorite moment for sure so far. Meeting him, it was like, my childhood hero is like meeting me, and I got his number after the game, and now we talk. It's so cool.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So before we let you go, because we know you got to get to the ballpark, where can the fans follow you on social media to continue to follow your journey and support you?
Yeah, I'm everywhere. So Ryan 30. It's Ryan Cormier 34. So Ryan Cormier 34. You just type that in. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on Snapchat too. Like I'm on everything. Ryan Cormier 34. On everything. I have a YouTube. I'm gonna start doing YouTube stuff. I don't have it up right now, but I'm gonna start putting my stuff on YouTube soon. Yeah, Ryan Cormier 34 on everything, all platforms.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you for your time.
Thank you, buddy.
We won't hold you too much longer. So thank you for coming on, and
Thank you guys.
we'll do
like
this
my
again.
first actual interview for this, so I really appreciate it. This was fun, and I hope to do
We
more
appreciate
like
you
this,
coming on.
or do a part two. So yeah, this is.
We
I'll
are definitely
remember
doing a
this.
part two.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll remember this for hopefully my whole life. This is awesome. I love this. I love doing this. So, especially getting to talk to
We
you guys
appreciate-
and on a podcast type and platform. This is cool.
We appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Guys, until next week, this has been Inside the Foul Podcast.
Let's go. All right. I appreciate